Good evening, and welcome to another Granddaddy Said, What? Hey, it is Throwback Thursday, so it's time to talk about something old from the past. Well, I think last Thursday I talked about my grandmothers. So I think this Thursday I'll talk about my grandfathers, two distinctively different people. Well, I have my grandfather who was in West Palm Beach, and we called him Granddaddy. And I had my grandfather from New Orleans, and we called him Gramps. So we'll do Granddaddy from West Palm Beach first. So my grandfather, very unique individual, very hard worker. He sent three out of his five kids went to college. The other two, his oldest two kids, the other two boys, they all joined the military. My grandfather did this and got his kids to college by working cutting lawns and doing gardening for rich millionaires in Palm Beach because my grandfather was from West Palm Beach and that's how he made the majority of his money. But he also ran a little store that was right next to his house. It was called Darville's Groceries. And the thing that I remember about that is when I would go over, anytime any of the grandkids went over, their job was to work in the store. So customers would come in, we would bag up groceries for them, or we would run the cash register as a way of learning about money and learning about responsibility. But there was a couple other things unique about my grandfather. He loved to play checkers. And I can remember him and all of his buddies right out in front of the store with a nice big checkerboard, slamming checkers down, talking all kind of smack about who was the best checker player. And the other thing about my grandfather uh, from West Palm Beach is he was only 5'10". He was short. And if you notice, my brothers and my baby brother's 6'3". I'm 6'4". My older brother is 6'5", and my dad is was 6'6". So we actually got all our height not from my grandfather, but from my grandmother, who was a relatively tall lady. She was actually taller than my grandfather. Gramps from New Orleans. Gramps was the very opposite of my grandfather from West Palm Beach. I would say my grandfather from West Palm Beach was very reserved and to himself, except when it was checker playing time. But my grandfather, Gramps, he was outgoing. And I think he got a lot of that from being in the Merchant Marines. So he traveled all over the world. He was in World War II during the Merchant Marines. And, he would tell us about when ships got sank that was around him when he was crossing the Atlantic. He went to places like Vietnam and China and Africa, many countries in Africa and Russia. So he was a world traveler. But there was two cool things about my grandfather. One is he loved comedy. So I got to listen to a lot of Red Fox records when I was growing up and learn all of these jokes that I still remember from the day from the Red Fox Laugh albums that my grandfather would listen with me, listen to with me. That's what I wanted to say. And then also he could tell a story, and this brother could tell stories so good that you didn't even know whether they were true or not. That's how convincing he was. So, my grandfather in West Palm Beach, loved him, enjoyed spending a lot of summers with him. My grandfather from New Orleans, actually, I stayed there for the first 5 years of my life and kind of grew up with him. So, they were very impactful on what you see today. So, that's it for Granddaddy Says What? And tomorrow is Faith Friday. And I have a very unique parable to share with you that you might have never heard before. Have a great day.